Here we go again. This will be the third installment for this mic build. I'm hoping this will just help out whoever else might be interested in working on this project and what I ran into and what I'm about to do with it so that it could help others. Anywho, this is going to be the assembly of the unit. You can see my hand reflecting in the capsule. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, I managed to get the holes drilled, and I got all the innards. You have to pardon my hands with burning wood. They get grimy here and there. So I got all that managed to get in there. I need to maneuver one specific item, and that was, here, let me get a pointer here. That was this white capacitor that I mentioned in the previous video that was spot contact to the transformer, right, that runs right on here. They see that yellow, the transformer. It's glued to it, but this switch that has that 470 nanofarad capacitor, ceramic capacitor, that's that orange one right there. This capacitor unit, I forget what they call them. It's a specific type of, it's another capacitor, but a specific type. I'm not too quaint. I forget the terms. Only from there, it's bumping, so I may have to reconfigure where I got that mounted against the switch so that it's not bumping there, because you can see that it's running askew from the center line here, and because it's kind of leaning that way askew, because that's hindering it from this side going down, even though it's really darn close, because I managed to get the set screw in here and the plug, and I went to plug it in, and you can kind of see it's like kind of tipped going that way. It's tipped ever so slightly, so I had to, it was a hard press to get the cord, but that is because, see, it's leaning this way. If you look, that's because this is countering it going that way, the way it's tipped. It should be lined up with these mounting screw holes for the plate. So we'll take that apart, and then the other thing is I wanted to organize some of the wiring a little bit and secure it in place so I'm not jamming it like a bowl full of spaghetti that's overfilled and wind up damaging a component. I don't want to damage any components. So we'll take that apart, and then I was going to mount the capsule, or the capsule is what I call it, and we're going to mount that and get the plate installed, because I got that drilled out. I got the mounting plate. I got the mounting plate here. I drilled that out for mounting the saddle for the capsule. And that's this one right here. It's a bifilet 87. I forget if they have a letter designation in front of that, but it's the 87, the U87 capsule. So I'll get that wired up, and then we'll go from there. So I'll get this, we'll set that off to the side. We won't deal with that. I got to fix this so I can close it up, because I want to be able to mount the capsule and have it secured so it's safe, so I'm not messing things up. The other thing is, if you can see ever so slight where it's raised up along the edge, and there's a couple resistors there. I gotta keep a hold of my pointer here. So there's a couple of these resistor points, like this one here, and then there's another one on this side. This one right here is kind of close to the top, so I was going to wind up plating or covering the top cover plate with electrical tape on the underside, and which isn't going to hurt anything. I actually did that with the body, the microphone body. I'm throwing it off focus there. So I lined it with electrical tape so that if there were any components that were leaning or close to touching, then I got that protected or insulated from any contact. This, and then there was a number of things I was shooting for, and I just wasn't able to do it. And I really was hoping to have these switches mounted more flush to the body. But the way it's situated and the way they extend into the body to such a degree, I had to remove some of the nuts and the washers, for like a standard install for it. So where was I getting at? Oy. So in order to make room for it to be up against the inside body of the body, pressed against the wall, which would allow for enough for the this area here in the middle between the switch, because there's another switch here, but I needed enough clearance in the middle here with all the wires coming off the 3 switches to make room for the plug to seat down through it all. And I managed to do that, so it came through. But like I said, I need to maybe remove this daughter board for the high pass switch and adjust it so it's down further or at a different angle. And then aside from that, I still have yet to install, I don't know if you can see it. Is it in there? Yeah, it's underneath this capacitor right here. This black capacitor, it's underneath there, that 470 nanofarad. And that's the same ceramic capacitor as this orange one right here on the daughter board for the high pass. But it's part of the circuit, and I'm pretty sure I'm in need of that so that I can operate the circuit with the high pass engaged with the switch, because I think that's just an on-off switch. Yeah, it's an on-off switch, just like the H pad or the attenuation pad is an on-off switch as well. The only switch is a variable switch, is the coloration or the bright switch for selecting for a brighter tonality versus the standard or the vintage U87 tonality. So let's take this apart without me gabbing anymore and go from there. And then I'll just touch on other things that I ran into while I was working on this. But other than that, I managed to get it all in there. Now the other thing was, I noticed Duffy had his switches mounted further up toward the top edge of the body. But I wondered how he managed to do that, because I found that there was more room below a lot of the components on the board. Down further in the cavity, there was more space for making room for the switches. So I opted to have them, I mounted them as low as I could possibly go on the body. And it's not all that cosmetic or beautiful, but it's functional. It's a hot rod mic, is what I consider it. And I'm really looking forward to using it. Well, switch the lefty loosey righty tighty. So we'll take that set screw out so we can slide it out and disassemble it again. And like I said, I want to clean up. I was looking for zip ties, some tiny zip ties, and I cannot find my container or box or cylinder of, set that aside, of zip ties. So I'm going to wind up using some twist ties and glue. Just gently lift it out. Okay, I got it loose, so I don't need the forceps now. So you see what I'm talking about, making room for this plug going down through that cavity to that hole and having the switches out of the way. So I gotta reconfigure that switch right here. So I'm wondering if I can tip it. Tip it so it runs alongside the body more. Well, what's that going to do to me for running the wire? Well, no, the wires will be fine. Or can I tuck it the other way? Because I got to get, the other thing is, it just so happened the way this is configured in here with this other H-pad switch right here is that I don't have a whole lot of room on that side because of that big monstrous platter of Oscar Mayer wieners in the way. So you can see that I haven't got much space to go over for that switch for putting that capacitor on this side of the board right here. That might be a little difficult. So I'm going to mount that on the other side, and you can see alongside this capacitor, you can see the holes for that. I don't want to go, there we go. So I'll mount that capacitor on this side, so I have to make sure I got room for that one, as well as the one that I got to move out of the way to accommodate for that's in the way now. So we'll work on pulling that out. Where's my my butchering tool, my vice grip? I just got them snug. They're not like cranked down there. So I kind of went unorthodox. Usually I just put a nut on the outside, but I put the lock on the outside so that I could get it as far as I needed to get it. The switch. There it is. So it's stuck in the body like this, and I need to, well, it's loose already, more or less. Here. Put a fresh blade on. Put a fresh blade on my X-Acto the other night. What we'll do is we'll just slice it. We'll replace that just to make it easier. We don't have to clean it up. I'm just separating this old piece of tape, and so I can replace it with some new tape. Well, it adhered pretty good. Well, it's a good thing I didn't make this an extended build video documentation. I'm just getting some of the critical stuff and some good visuals to help whoever might be interested in this. Oh, about time. Well, while we were doing that, I suppose we were getting a hot glue gun going to stay warm. All right, we'll get some electrical tape here. I got this real wide roll, heavy duty. It's supposed to be heavy duty. It is seemed thicker than some of the others that were available to buy. I don't need much. I just gotta go around the switch maybe once or twice. Where are my skizzers? Oh. Got my tool. Where's that switch? I only need, well, that was the other thing. 1/2 inch, I suppose. It was just kind of happenstance, but when I was first covering these, I noticed that it would be beneficial to go a little bit beyond the switch, or beyond the the body of the switch, because it would be extra insulative material for the. See, I went a little bit too. Well, no, it's not too far. It's just a little insulative, to cover up the nodes. Yeah, I did go pretty far. I could cut that down smaller. It's hard to gauge looking through a magnifying glass. There, that's more like it, I think. Yeah, that's more like it. So you see how this would kind of protect or help cover up some of the wires hooked to the switch. If the plastic or the electric tape extends beyond it a little bit. That's plenty enough. Yeah, see, that kind of protects it to some degree. Alright, so now we got to figure out how to glue this on where it's out of the way. The wires, do I want them draping down or up? Here, let's get this out of the way. This head basket. like so. Oh, but then it's going to put the wires over. I'll go that way with it. That's what I'll do. Yeah, because I just needed to go below the switch, so should be looking through my viewfinder. Yeah, I'll go like that. And then it'll fit in the corner there too, I believe. Yeah, and then the wires will just ride alongside there. Yeah, that'll work. Do it like that. Boy, this is turning into a long doggone video. So here's my hot glue gun. Just a dollop. Is that sitting right? Ooh, that's hot. Yeah, it's sitting on there pretty good. Oops. Alright, I got that ground wire there too. Ok. No, I don't want to go under there. I want to go on the other side of it. Oh my goodness. There. So, oh, you can see that O-ring connector that I got to that's hooked up. That's that lead wire that I was talking about the other day. Right there, hooked up there. See, that goes this here one. That ground goes down there to that O-ring on the bottom. So let me get this in here. I want that kind of floating on the top between these two. This is going in there like so. Come on, new. There, now we're situated. Yeah, see, now I got it clear of that hole down there, or the access to the for the plug to go through. All right, put a lock on the outside. See, I had to make space. I had to move the housing for the switch took up so much space that I had to remove any kind of nuts or washers that you'd typically put on the inside for it to lock. But I'm not like cranking on these to destroy the housing. It's just in there to hold it in place. Just snug so it grabs the lock washer. Yeah, that looks more like it. So let's see how this clears now. Oh, I wanted to tidy this up a little bit. Well, no, it's all right. If I lean these over a little bit. Just to make room for the... Alright, so that... These have to... Blue and the black for the H-pad had to slip underneath on this other side. Slipping it past all of them wires. See if I can move that over. Oh, that's what I'm getting held up on. Come on now. There it is. Trying to get the key in place. Something's holding me up. No, it's going down. Am I clearing that? Oh yeah, it's riding right on top of the switch now. This, I'm looking at this capacitor right here. That white boxy looking unit is riding right on top of the switch. It's sitting right on top of it. And it's seated, this is seated down, and it's more or less, it's more centered than it was before. It's not leaning like it was so bad. But you can see how snug some of this is. Look, like there's a capacitor right down in here, right there between the, or a resistor between the mounting screw column that's projecting out. Is that resistor is between that and the these capacitors, so it's pretty tight. But I think it worked out pretty good by putting on lining it with electrical tape. So we'll put the set screw back into place. You know, the unfortunate thing about this is I won't know how well it works until I get that capacitor that I didn't have or had to put on the board yet. Where's that screw? Put the set screw back in. So that should fix. Now it's not riding against those two. The switch isn't riding against that capacitor. So this should line up a little straighter, so it won't be so snug to get the. Yeah, that looks a little straighter. Yeah, and it's lined up. It's not so far off. I see it's got give. It was like really pushing on it. It was that orange capacitor pushing on that white housing capacitor. I should be referring them to what they are, but so anyway, we got everything in there. And I got the legs here. I'll snip them off later, but I got them so for feeding in a source, a tone source. Yeah, that's much more level, but I'm still gonna put electrical tape on that part. So let's move on to that. Holy smokes, 35 minutes. We'll make that the next video. We'll mount the capsule in the next video, now that we got that situated where it's level now and I can get things done. So that other capacitor is going to come through. Is going to come through like the base, near the base of that one there. Well, and now I'll have it right up here. I'll just tip it up so it'll kind of sit right in here. right in there. I'll kind of bend the legs on it and have it situate so it'll be on top of the other one. Because I don't think I got enough room on this side because this switch is going to be in the way. And this resistor and this capacitor. So it's going to make it really hard to try to get that in there. Because it's way down in there. You can see, well, maybe you can't see. It's way down in here. Kind of pointing to it now. But it'll be easier just to slip it in right in there. And then I can solder it from the other side. But I'll disassemble it. So once I get that, then we'll do the sound test on it. See if we got it together. So until next time,